Oh my God, we are 3 minutes late. Hey Al, we're gonna have to give you that super chat back, that $5 because we're late. Thank you so much, Al. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Rhonda. Good morning, Barbara. Good morning, Al. Yeah, and we're diving this morning. We had so much content this morning, and Rhonda will attest to that we had to cut half of it out because our friend who we follow, Krystal Ball, just basically hit it out of the park so far. I can't even see it anymore. Wouldn't you agree with that, Rhonda? I mean, she said what we've all been saying for a long, long time about this whole thing. But let's kick it off. Let's kick it off. I don't know. Let's kick it to the moon. Last night I couldn't sleep again. I couldn't sleep at all last night, and I got up and our friend Fiorella Isabel and Pasta. We're kind of like saying what we were thinking. They were talking about Bernie Sanders. And Bernie thinks, the quote is, Bernie Sanders thinks most of his supporters will vote for Joe Biden. His supporters say otherwise. Well, honestly, Bernie may be right. Most of his supporters, though, at the end of the day, maybe. I don't think so this time. What do you think, Rhonda? Yeah, there will because of the. Yeah, I think their only hope to get the most votes is to replace Biden at the convention. I think. Anyway, well, I'll shut up. Let's hear what Pasta and Fee have to say. This is a 220 clip, but you need to hear it to frame the whole show today in context.
Is he right about that, and what does the vice president have to do about it?
The vast majority of the people who voted for me, who supported me, will understand and do understand that Donald Trump is the most dangerous president in the modern history of this country. He's a pathological liar. He's a racist and a sexist, a homophobe, etc. And I think at the end of the day, they will be voting for Joe Biden. But I think what Joe is going to have to do, and he's beginning to move in that direction, is to say to those working class people, say to those young people, say to those minorities, listen, I understand your situation. I understand that you are graduating college with tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars in debt. I understand that you don't have any health insurance.
It's just funny to me because it's really not true.
And your former campaign manager, Jeff Weaver, put out a memo this week where he warned that Vice President Biden is falling far short with your supporters, the supporters who supported you during the primary campaign that he's going to need in November. Is he right about that? And what does the vice president have to do about it?
The vast majority of the people who voted for me, who supported me, will understand and do understand that Donald Trump is the most dangerous president in the modern history of this country. He's a pathological liar. He's a racist and a sexist, a homophobe, etc. And I think at the end of the day, they will be voting for Joe Biden. But I think what Joe is going to have to do, and he's beginning to move in that direction, is to say to those working class people, say to those young people, say to those minorities, listen, I understand your situation. I understand that you are graduating college with tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars in debt. I understand that you don't have any health insurance. I understand that you're working at a job that is paying $12 an hour and you can't get by on that. We got to raise that minimum wage to a living wage. I understand that you're concerned about not only the pandemic, but you're concerned about climate change and how we make sure that the world comes together to address the existential threat and in the process create millions and millions of good paying jobs. I understand that you're concerned about the racism within our criminal justice system and our immigration system. So I think that Joe and his staff understand that. I think they are going to reach out to our supporters and come up with an agenda that speaks to the needs of working families, of young families, of minority communities.
I don't know why Bernie thinks that Joe Biden's people are going to somehow offer us Medicare for all, are going to somehow change their mind and become progressives overnight. We have no leverage. We have nothing. Literally, the only thing we have is our vote. We're not going to give that up just because some Joe Biden spokesperson says, okay, well, we'll consider some debt forgiveness. We'll consider some Medicare for all. Like, that's not enough.
You know, honestly, I want to apologize for the sound. I restarted the clip, so you got really 3 minutes of something there that wasn't the goal. But did you hear it okay, Rhonda?
I did, and that's not enough for sure. Can they hear me now okay? Because I saw that there are some issues at the beginning.
Yeah, well, I'll check it in a minute. There's a little lag, but I apologize about the sound. We need this show particularly today to have optimal sound because I'm going to be screaming here in a little bit. But no, I think they get it. We have the accidental activists. Good morning. We have Barbara Bartelson. We have human.
And thank you again, Al.
Yeah, thanks, Al, for every drop in this bucket for Uphill Media helps Uphill Media and all of us keep going. Check us out on Rockfin. That's our public service or our self-serving announcement, but it helps progressive media. Let me cue up. Go ahead and give your in on what Fiorella said while I get the next run queued up, please, Rhonda.
Well, I think it's presumptuous of anybody to come out to say what the majority of the Sanders voters are going to do. The one thing that they always are trying to tell everybody is that we've been this cult. And if they ever were really truly paying attention, they would have realized we weren't. The one thing that we did come together with, the majority of us, is that we do have our own minds and we do have a conscience, and we plan on sticking with that. And the bullying behavior only off-puts us even more. So this little piecemeals of maybe giving us a little bit of what we're asking for. And if we succumb now, I mean, it's all of our, like you said, all of our leverage is gone. We have nothing to push against, which is why we're in this way, now with the coronavirus relief packages. We gave everything away at the beginning, so we have no leverage for anything else to come down our way. So same old, same old.
Yeah, it is same old, and honestly, I'm getting started here again. It is quite presumptuous, and they called us a cult in 2016. They're gonna blame us for Joe Biden's failure to achieve the number of votes needed to beat Trump this time. They're gonna blame us. Some of you say, well, I don't know, that Trump's probably going to lose because everybody hates him. All the TDS, the indivisible posers, as far as Trump derangement syndrome, they're going to come out and force to be Biden. Well, maybe. I doubt it. I really doubt it unless Trump keeps face planting on this pandemic response. It's the issues. It's the issues, stupid. It's the economy, stupid. It's the fuckery, stupid. It's the corruption, stupid. I think it's come to a boiling point where it's boiling over. That's that catchphrase back where I think it was in Clinton's era. It's the economy, stupid. Well, it's not just the economy. It's everything. Now, we have I have tried to cut up this clip this morning, and we're going to primarily focus on two news stories, which is this one about Bernie's, stating his people are going to pretty much come out and support Joe Biden. Well, let's put this into perspective. Now, Krystal, again, blew it out of the park today, and we're going to play some segments of her radar clip that I think she's absolutely right effing on all the way through. There is some hope, some good news at the end of this, but let's just hear her out. Now, I'll cut it up into 130 bits here, so let's hear her out. Listen up. I think she speaks the real truth of what's going on.
tackle the future of the post-Bernie left and what exactly his loss means for the future. The headline reads, "Progressives thought they'd overtaken the Democratic Party. Now they're in despair." They're not wrong, honestly. That despair, peppered with some rage, is certainly the prevailing sentiment I've seen within the anti-establishment left. I don't really like the term progressive because to me it encompasses a lot of firm party loyalist Warren types who are perfectly comfortable with or actually enthusiastic about the increasingly affluent and identitarian direction of the Democratic Party. I also don't like the term the Bernie left because it implies dependency on one political figure. And as some in the mainstream press were shocked to realize we do actually have minds of our own. The article includes quotes from various left operatives and activists, some of whom seem more in touch with reality, frankly, than others do. There's an understandable grasping among some to see the movement as still powerful and deeply relevant. Sanders campaign manager Faz Shakir falls into this category, telling Politico that "I do believe progressives are in the ascendancy in the Democratic Party, and we are still in the midst of that transition," pointing to Biden and other Democrats who've embraced progressive policies far to the left of where the party was a decade ago as evidence of the left's expanding influence. Now, I want to believe that. I want to buy the idea that Biden...
Okay. So what do you think of that? Would you agree with that?
Well, yeah, because she did kind of say what I said. Well, we think we all said is that, we're not a cult. And actually there are people, yes, revamping the Dem Party still, who've been in there and trying to really have it represent the values that the platform says it is supposed to represent. But they're just trying to ignore the swath of people who are done with both parties, the two-party duopoly, and who are really working on building a third either viable party or at least a big enough movement to leverage what people need in our government. So yeah, some are going in there, but a lot are done. Yeah. with the Dem Party.
More and more all the time. And I want to get through these clips as quickly as possible. But yeah, we're going to expand a little bit more. We're going to continue with her a little bit here. We need to put this into perspective for the group. Those of you who haven't seen the full radar clip this morning, and again, we use the Hill because they're the closest thing to real news that we have these days. So Krystal keeps going on here. Just hear us out on this.
I want to believe that. I want to buy the idea that Biden's task forces really mean something and the fact that Medicare for all is a majority position really means something, but I don't. Instead, I see a movement that was on the cusp of actual victory mere moments ago and is now crushed and defeated. Last week's embarrassing flailing with the HEROES Act to bail out corporate lobbyists with some window dressing around supporting our frontline heroes is a perfect case in point. First off, of course, there was a normal disarray and complete lack of communication. Pramila Jayapal was understandably upset that the primary progressive priorities around healthcare and payroll were not included. Others felt that after going along with leadership for several lackluster efforts, it was time to actually show a little bit of backbone. Meanwhile, many outside progressive groups apparently didn't get the message, coming out in favor of the bill. Jayapal and Pocan, co-chairs of the Progressive Caucus, decided to make a move. But when they did, it was exactly the sort of tepid, warmed-over resistance that we've come sadly to expect. A letter asking not even for any specific changes, but for a pause to assess the bill. They didn't get their pause. They didn't get their priorities. They only mustered 14 votes on the rule to consider the HEROES Act. Some of them were actually from moderates who were worried about the deficit, I suppose. And in the end, Jayapal was the sole progressive to vote against it. Does that sound to you like an ascendant movement? At a moment when corporate Democrats are sending talking points to the media about how big they want to go and how Biden's an FDR-style revolutionary, the caucus with the proposals most up to the scale and scope of the times has been rendered utterly politically irrelevant. Now, obviously, it pains me to admit these things and to watch it all unfold. I'm not looking to be unduly pessimistic here, but I do believe in honesty, and I don't think you can move forward if you don't have an accurate picture of the present. The left isn't just anemic and in despair because it's
I think that she sums it up quite a bit right there. I mean, look at Jayapal. They had that bullshit HEROES Act Okay, where they wanted to bail out corporate lobbyists, the 501c6s. So again, another example of them bailing out the donor class, the oligarch that's running the whole show, and currying some crumbs for the little people. Isn't that what you get out of that? I mean, truly.
I don't know if we really would call them crumbs. I don't think that they've even lived up to a crumb standard.
Exactly. Not even a crumb.
Even crumbs leave a little bit of a trail, right? We get a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am happy that Pramila, is in Washington and is representing at least, in person. When they're talking about the progressive movement, I was thinking of the grassroots, which I was going to say is not dying. It really is still here, and still building and going strong. But she's right. Our progressive caucus absolutely has failed us. They should have really stepped up and not budged in the bill that ended up, of course, taking care of all of our corporations. That was where our leverage was. We don't have any leverage now. They got everything they wanted, and now they can care less if anything else.
Well, yeah. How can we expect Biden to give us anything except cheat? Because Bernie basically folded way too soon and took away any leverage that he may have had for whatever reasons he had, and we can we can only guess those. But as I said before in the green room, Rhonda, I mean, what the hell, is Pramila Jayapal, did she get permission to give us another crumb by the Nancy Pelosi bot leadership to, okay, you can oppose this because we need to give something to the progressives? Or was she, in fact, the only one that had the intestinal fortitude to stand up to that bullshit bill, the bullshit bill that has not passed the Senate and probably won't unless it guts out those microbes that we call crumbs? I mean, really, and I wanna think that, okay, Pramila Jayapal is our only true leader. I want to be hopeful. I want to be positive in that respect until I'm proven wrong. But would you argue with that premise at all that I'm coming up with?
I'm gonna hope that she did do it on her own volition, and I'm hoping that the more that we're able to show that we support our legislators who do stand up, better, and or support those who are running against incumbents who are not, if we can get them in, that we'll have more and more people standing up to do that. Unfortunately, they're not as bold as what we would like them to be now because they're not fighting for this. But that's why we've got to get strong enough, and we've got to get our machine of this movement on lock so we can take on these powerful entities. And you guys, these have been going for how long now?
How long?
And
now?
They're deep entrenched. This is not an overnight thing, and this is an all of us thing. So whether you're fighting from within or on the outside, we all need to support each other for us to overtake what we have today.
And we'll keep saying that to ad nauseum. I mean, honest to God, I'm thinking about this, and I've been advocating as of late. Again, we need to switch up our strategy, our game on how we're approaching these things. I mean, just yesterday, one of the congressional district up here, I think, was giving endorsements, and they, by one vote, they lost, and they're going to end up giving another endorsement to Rick Larson, one of the worst tools, one of the worst corporate shills, one of the most corrupt, in my opinion, as far as supposed to be working for the people in the second congressional district. And this was the first congressional that was going to endorse Rick Larson. I mean, that's a real screwed up district up there because of gerrymandering. But they ended up giving him their endorsement, the Democrats, by one vote. And this is a disease that all these CDs and LDs have across the entire nation. They'll keep backing these corporate tools, these people who are actually working against the best interest, working against Medicare for all, edging these freaks in, these corporate by record, horrible record on everything. They're not. The Democratic Party isn't the party of the people anymore. It's the party of the more sane side, sane side of the oligarch, of the Republicans. Before I get us away from this clip,
is there a sane side?
There is no sane side. It's
to make sure that we
yeah, it's down with the people. So let's keep slicing up this clip because it's worthy. And I think we should give Krystal Ball the Wipey Award today for this one radar, and she should win some sort of a heavily reported deal. So here we go again.
Left isn't just anemic and in despair because it's perpetually disorganized or because they're licking their wounds over political loss. It's also not just because this is an incredibly depressing historical moment that we are all living through, although that certainly doesn't help. I think there are really three pieces here to think about. First was the way in which Bernie's loss occurred. Now, I just watched this Bernie Black-on documentary, which is well done. It is somewhat torturous to relive all the ups and downs of the incredibly abbreviated primary. But most painful was to watch all of the hopeful energy and optimism and organizers and workers sending in their $10 and students knocking on doors and the willingness to believe that things could be different, that things could be better. To actually invest their emotional energy and then watch as someone who barely campaigned had the waters parted for him by Obama and an overwhelming media propaganda narrative. To be so close to having a shot at real change and then watch it all crumble in record-breaking time from a massive coordinated establishment effort fed a sense that the project not only failed, but was perhaps doomed from the outset. Second was the way in which Bernie bent the knee. Now, it was one thing to watch Bernie get out of the race prematurely, in my view, when he could have stayed in longer to gain more leverage and provide a viable alternative should additional questions and credible allegations arise regarding Joe's past. It was another thing to watch Bernie's cringeworthy live stream with his friend Joe and see all the people who hated him and trashed him and would have gone to any lengths to stop him come out with all of their faux praise. But the real killer was to see Bernie actually chastise his supporters who were not ready to climb on board with a candidate who doesn't share their values or their view of politics. Now, I understand why Bernie views the landscape as he does, and I really do believe that he thinks he is acting in what is national interest. But in that moment, not only did it seem like the project was potentially doomed, it appeared that the revolutionary rhetoric had been just that, rhetoric. And now the revolutionary was trying to sell us on the transformational change of some task forces, seemingly abandoning his legacy of unvarnished truth-telling to be just like all the rest, willing to sacrifice every principle and 40-year-long ideal in service of beating Trump, fully buying into the lesser of two evils framework that leads to endless hell and the fundamental impossibility of real change. After all, why would the corporatists offer anything better if they can just be slightly better than the bad guys? They weaponized Bernie's basic decency to become a tool of crushing his own movement in a way that, frankly, he alone could do. Finally, there is a deep sense of impotence in the face of a crisis where the forces of corporatism instantly leapt into action and won all their most important priorities, while the left meekly protested in a tweet or a live stream or an occasional floor speech. We get that the moment is now, and that the agenda we believe in is exactly what was called for at this time. And yet the movement that could have fought for that agenda is defeated by the establishment and then demoralized by its former leader. Our inability to take action further hampered by a necessary separation that keeps us from physically gathering. Let me end this rather depressing explication.
You know what? That particular slice out of that clip was dead on, and Rhonda. You know, again, I'm not going to beat the shit out of Bernie Sanders because I could, but I credited him. I worked my ass off for him twice now. The establishment is a monster. They have the money. They have the power. I mean, it's incredible to even talk about. Al says we're back to the let them eat cake mentality with the equivalent of metaphorical results. Metaphorical. Well said, Al. I mean, it's like.
Well said, Al.
Yeah, Al, you nail it there. So here's where I'm at. Here's on this clip, and then we'll have hopefully the positive aspect of this. we all worked our butts off. We all got that energy. And Bernie set it up. We had the energy. We blew the top off the Tacoma Dome when he came up here. So many of our friends and family were up there. I mean, that energy would have propelled him all the way across the nation, all the way to convention. But the Lord Jesus Obama parted the seas. He said, circle the wagons. We can't let the progressives have anything, but what better way to do is to tee up our chins and take a baseball bat and knock our heads clean off. What a way to put the despair out of there. And all I can say is I got my Bernie hat here. I'm going to archive it for good old days when we really thought we had that kind of a leader that could make it, but it was just too much for the guy. And there it goes back in the archives. I don't regret doing what I did because Bernie did start this shit, and we're going to finish it now. I
got my sweatshirt, my Bernie sweatshirt. I'm not archiving it because, again, I would not be sitting here with you today if it wasn't for Bernie. Honestly, he woke my eye. He woke me up.
Yeah,
I was coaching cheer, and I was a football mom. And just living, and didn't think that I could make any kind of difference in the political world. And I don't think I've made a big difference, but I know I've made a little bit of one just by meeting every one of you guys out there, people in the movement. We have come a long ways.
It brought us all together, didn't it?
Right. So,
I mean, that's the great thing.
Not archiving.
Yeah.
Not archiving.
Well, I okay. Let me put it to you like this. When I say, I'm not walking it back. When I say archive, I'm going to wear the apparel. I got a few shirts. I got the hat. I'm going to wear the apparel as a reminder of what Bernie did to start it off, and as not so much as a cross to bear, because the whole the positions, the ideology was correct and is correct, will be correct until we can make a change in this. So that's
gone, everybody. So I know that we don't want to lockstep, and we, and we don't are 100% behind him and everything he says. But he's still here. He's not going anywhere. He's still going to fight for every one of us to be covered, to be healthy, to have good health care. He's still going to fight to try to, rid our youth of this massive burden of debt. Anyway, so I'm just, you know where I'm going with that.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I know, but it just sounds like we're signing off too much today. And I can't sign off. I still pay homage. He's still there.
Yeah.
It just may not be the direction we are all wanting him to go, but that's where we come in as our own thinking people.
Yeah. We are the movement now. Schultze said, yet he won twice. It's a fact. He did. If anything has proven to all of us that there is no way you can win as a Dem with a progressive agenda. No way. You know what, Schultze? I agree, and yet I say, we have to win. Not as a Dem, we have to win as the public, as the peasants, as the working poor, as the frontliners, as the people who care about nature and the environment. We have to win. We have no choice. We have to. So, yes, in a duopoly that's controlled by these sick animals, when we see our comrades, our brothers, our sisters and brothers having to bend the knee for whatever reason they do at the time, they've been broken or whatever, or they think they can move up and move stealthily to the point where they can make a difference, which does not work on this grand scale because of everything you said, Schultze. I think that's where we need to do. We must win. We have no choice. Otherwise, we're just going to go out with a canoe without a paddle over a cliff. And again, I want to say, I'm not abandoning Bernie's ideals or what Bernie has done for the thing. I'm not going to be a Jimmy Dore and, call him a mofo and everything else, because Jimmy Dore, again, is that shock shit and everything else. And That's his shtick, and I think, in again, I'm not going to be an apologist for Jimmy Dore, but he's been right on so many things that whether you like it or hate it, he's been right. Aaron Mattei and the rest of the independent media, Max Blumenthal, Glenn Greenwald, they've been telling us, hey guys, you better wake up because this ain't going to work out well for you, and it didn't. Let's finish off these clips with Krystal on this clip that we went on. And again, today is Eat the Rich. Is our theme, Eat the Rich Tuesday. Yeah, gobble, 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 not turkey-wise. They're the turkeys. So here, let's finish this off, and I don't have it time-stamped to when to shut it off, so I'll cowboy it.
On a hopeful note, though, it's stupid to think that an ideology which is growing in acceptance and which came within moments of the presidency is irrelevant or dead or any of that. That's not true. The present may be a moment of despair in seemingly blocked paths and barred doors. But if there's one thing we've learned, it's that the moment can shift quickly and that the forces of corporate greed can't help but overreach. Another moment of action and possibility is coming. Let's learn and let's be ready.
Michaela Wilkes is running for Congress.
We love Michaela Wilkes. If we're going to have a commercial, this is the one. Okay, back to Krystal.
And Sagar, on that piece, we already see some of the stirrings of that in talks about a general strike and some of the work actions that we're seeing in talks of a rent strike. But I do think that there is this sense of depression that is worth digging into, like what are the root causes of that? Because if you don't understand that, then you're delusional and you don't know how to move forward.
Yeah, of course. And look, self-criticism is the most important thing, especially in the wake of failure. I've also been thinking about this too, which is that if you look at the bailout package and what was successful and what was not, I saw a couple of people were tweeting about this yesterday. They were like, it's crazy. Like the most effective wings so far in terms of getting what they want have been the establishment Dems and establishment Rs.
Yep.
But in terms of outsider movements, the only people who've gotten anything into legislation, not a lot, maybe 5%, were some of these more populist Republican senators. And there's a real question as to why exactly that is. And what I've settled on is that you have to believe in two things to get something done. You have to believe in politics and you have to believe in government. So on the right, the establishment Republicans believe in politics and they believe in government.
Yeah.
But they use and believe in government to corporate ends. The populist people believe in politics and government, are on the right, believe in using government for more worker-centric ends. So they got some of what they want. Now, who are the people who are irrelevant? The progressives and the libertarians. Libertarians because they don't believe in government. Progressives because they don't really believe in politics. And
I let that run because I think Sagar makes a fair point. But Sagar, I got to tell you, the progressive left is we're kind of, I think we do believe in politics, and this is why the inside-outside strategy. We know that's how it works. And I don't know about you, Rhonda, but I'll say it again. We have to fight these fronts. These are fronts. This is a goddamn war, everybody. A war on the people, a war on our health, a war on our planet, a war to take away everybody else's stuff around the planet, utilizing our military-industrial complex for profit, mind you. So the oligarchs have the minerals and the food and the ability to strut their garbage forever. This is like history repeating itself on a grand scale, and I line that up as being Rome when it was ready to burn. Your feelings on that, Rhonda? You're muted.
I'm aligned with what you're saying. Sorry, I muted myself because there was a lawnmower behind me. I apologize.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Can't always guarantee when that's going to happen. I totally agree with what you're saying. I don't have anything to argue with there. It is. It's like watching things in slow motion too. It's almost like this time around we can see things coming, but we don't, us little peons don't have a big enough voice to have people, everybody hear, stop. Let's hold on. Let's take a breath. Let's see what's really going on here, and reevaluate where we're going to go. Unfortunately, that's the mainstream media. And none of us peons have any kind of a voice there. So we do have to get so big in number that one voice gets magnified, so hugely that it can't be ignored. So I'm in it for the long haul. I hope you guys are all too.
I'm definitely in it. I mean, Al, you're knocking them out of the park today. Al says, at this point, what do we have to look forward to? Well, that's a tough question. Rhonda, do you have anything that comes to mind? Because mine's going to take a minute to explain.
Well, me being the old optimist and just kind of, I don't know. Of course, there's things to look forward to as far as just one-on-one, us, our community, our families, the people we truly, we love and adore. And of course I can see where there's a future where we all can thrive. But I know that that it's, not going to be as rosy as what's in my head. But I will always keep it there and keep fighting for that vision, or else, we'd all be doomed. But I'll let you go ahead and go off in your own.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I know. I'm just going to paint this rosy picture here just to keep you guys warm and fuzzy for a moment.
Oh, my God. Okay, I'm not going to crap all over you, Al. Okay, I promise. Here.
Go ahead, do it.
Okay.
Let it all out.
All right. You know what? I think we've all been creatures of social conditioning. We've all, we have movie metaphors that we can relate to, the 2001 Space Odysseys, the Mad Maxes, the romantic movies, the Tootsies and the Princess Brides and all that kind of stuff. And I am shooting from the hip here to answer your question, because it does look, the future does look bleak. Well, there comes a time, there was a movie back in the day, and that's what I'm going to use, called Heavy Metal. It was a great movie along the lines of American Pop, if you didn't see it. But there was a character in Heavy Metal called Tarna. Tarna. She was like the champion of the environment and the people and what's right in the universe and everything else. Well, when Tarna, this character, finally woke up, it was too late. So she basically got taken down. To a point. I don't know. This is really a pop culture metaphor. I hope you guys get it. But this hero, this heroine out there, everything had gone awry. And there was only like this one seed left to do things. And the whole point was that Tarna, if it's too late to do something about the present, do something about the future. And that stuck with me my whole life. I mean, Christ, you guys, that I came out in the 80s. I was just young and fun and full of shit and everything else, trying to do my thing. But that really touched me. So what she did, the long end of the movie is she got her power back, and she got that spirit, that inner spirit, that lion, that roar within us. And she said, this isn't going to stand. And it wasn't a kamikaze thing as much as it was a forward-thinking, a fight for the future, which is what I think we're in. And that enabled her to overcome the villains of this story. And it ended up being a tale, a tale that the Native Americans have talked about and other cultures around the world about, being in tune with the world and the planet. And I know I sound all, hearts and flowers and everything else, but it's true. When you're down, when you see death at the door next to you, and you think about all the beauty that our species has done in relation to the horrible things our species has perpetrated on the planet, most of us, all of us in this group, we're going to go for the good stuff there. So do not despair. Do not despair. Take that Tarna energy, take that damn energy of what is right for the future. And that's what we need to look forward to. Are people like you who have the voice to understand the self-reflection, Al, and Human, and Schultze, and Barbara, and Jilly, and everybody here, all of you who may watch this. Oh, that's Oz, he's crazy. But for Christ's sake, what else do we have when we have basically the oligarch with their boot on our back? Are we going to just lay there and be crushed? I don't think so. So if we're fighting for today and we're losing these battles against these thugs, these establishments from the corporations, the oligarch, duopoly, everything, they might win the day, but they're not going to win the battle ultimately. We're not going to fight and run away to fight another day. We're going to keep fighting through this and go forward. Because I have faith in all of you. I have faith in the human condition of what, the first time you saw your baby when they were born. I mean, are you going to forget that just because these scumbags are stepping on, the beauty of a sunrise, the beauty of a sunset over an ocean? Think about the arts, the history that we are on the precipice of losing because of climate catastrophe, the pandemic. It's killing people right and left. Who knows where this shit came? It's all bad stuff. We need to take that bad energy and turn it back around and bring out the good in us for the fight for the other day. Did I make my point, Rhonda?
Loud and clear, Oz. It was beautiful. And damn, we're gonna have to cut that out and share that around.
Oh, I don't know. I was
it was very articulate. It was very passionate, and thank you for that.
Oh, my pleasure. I hope it wasn't intended to be anything like pontificating, as much more of how I truly feel inside, because that's what gets me up every day to interact and speak out with all of our sisters and brothers here. We're running long again, but I cut 3 stories out of this because I think Krystal needed her due, and she did earn the Wipey Award, don't you think, Ron?
Yes.
Yeah, I think she did great. We're going to go out with this Eat the Rich theme today. This clip is talking about how the former Goldman Sachs CEO says we need to risk people to get COVID to save the economy. Goes back to what I just said. They don't give a shit about anything except the economy, which feeds their inner beasts. And again, I'll dedicate this one to Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates.
Has some advice for what to do about our economy. Let's go ahead and throw the tweet up. It's from Joe Weisenthal over at Bloomberg. Lloyd Blankfein says the U.S. will have to risk a spike in infections to get the economy going again. He also said it's risky for the government to keep spending this much money because there might be a spike in the cost of capital. Don't you love it when Wall Streeters are willing to sacrifice you for the good of the stock market? And by the way, not only that, but also the government can't spend any more money because
former Goldman.
Lord knows we can't have them helping workers and small business.
Yeah, I mean that's the great conceit of this whole thing. So and I wanted to pair it up with a Politico story, which we can see here, which is swing state Republicans are warning with the Trump campaign, saying going Biden after Biden's going to take you so far. Ultimately, the election will be a referendum on him, and what's buried more in there is about the economic spending. And lo and behold, what I see clearly is that Lloyd Blankfein and his ilk, these Wall Street billionaires who were liberal, Republican, depending on the day, whomever will do their bidding, are the ones who are largely being listened to in Congress and in the White House. I mean, just this morning, I wake up and I read a Financial Times op-ed by Stephen Moore talking about how the real impact for this crisis needs to be that the Federal Reserve needs to lower interest rates and that the Social Security Trust Fund should be able to be relinquished in order to buy stocks.
Bingo! There it is. The Social Security Fund needs to be relinquished to buy stocks. This is the thing they have been chipping at for 5 fucking decades, if not more. They got to get that Social Security money, which, mind you, is all paper now, thanks to the conservative, the oligarchs in there. Did you I'm sure that everybody who watched this segment this morning caught that. It's all about the last vestige of the social safety net. Your feelings, Rhonda?
Well, might as well take, our very last piece of social safety net and give to Bezos, because, he needs it. Because I hear he's going to, hit $1 trillion.
He could be the first trillionaire, and the way the math goes, yeah, he probably is the first trillionaire. I mean, shit.
Yeah. So I mean, we need to make that happen. So why don't we just give them over? Just let them have our Social Security. I mean, we need that trillionaire in the world to feel complete. I believe that's yeah. That sounds good. No, it's total bullshit again. They're giving these breaks to these billionaires and trillionaires and giving them all this cash, but want to take every last drop from the people. I mean, they are squeezing out.
I mean, we need that trillion.
And again, remember,
last night. Go ahead. Sorry.
The one that has over and over and over again said, yeah, Social Security could be on the table. So think about this, guys. Listen to what just was said. They're going to go after our Social Security yet again. And Biden has always, not always, majority of the times, sided on that. So I actually feel like that's probably closer than ever that will get gutted. It's scary. And I hope everybody's paying attention.
Yeah, they should be. I'm queuing up the next the piece, the Outgo movie. Honestly, guys, really, it's all about. And Stephen Moore, he's that clown we talked about last week. I used to call him the Sniveler when he went on Bill Maher's show back in the day. Stephen Moore, he's qualified to pick up dog crap at a kennel. That's about it, as far as I'm concerned. I would venture to say that any of us could take him apart as far as fiscal responsibility in the sense of making money for Wall Street. So that's what he's there for. He's just like Greenspan and the rest of them. It's all about tearing our social safety net to pieces and being. That's it. We're done. So again, I want to thank everybody. Bill, Gabriel, Schultze, Human, Al Walski, accidental activist, Shanda, Barbara. We don't have Jill. I think Jilly said she wasn't going to be here today. She was being tied up with something else. I don't see Mel today either. Missing Mel. Franklin. Good morning, Franklin. Glad to see you're up and about. I will contact you today. Let me see who else we got here. I think that's it. Let's talk about the shows coming up this week. Tomorrow, we're going to do something special. You want to tell them what we're doing tomorrow, Rhonda?
Isn't it Women's Wednesday?
It's Women's Wednesday in honor of Christine, the natural progressive, and the accidental activist with Shanda Master. Rhonda and I were talking this morning about, we really need to walk our talk as far as women in social media and in activism. So why don't we take a day a week? And I think Wednesday, Hump Day, is a good day to do it. And there's no metaphor there, Hump Day.
Yeah, okay.
Well, maybe. I don't know. It depends on who's on top. That was terrible.
That came out of the blue.
Yeah, that came out of the blue. It's just one of those things. Got it. Anyway, yeah, so we are going to have special guests tomorrow. Shanda Masta, Christine Lund, the natural progressive, Shanda Masta, the accidental activist, and Whitney Alex from the Green Report with Rhonda. And Big Mouth here, Oz, is going to be still around helping tee up the ladies and facilitating the discussion. But we are going to talk about, Rhonda, what are we going to talk about?
Women in social media, in activism, in everywhere, because it is grossly, and I mean grossly in the sense of not the women, but how unfair and ill-proportioned it is to the number of male voices out there. Now, we're not being sexist. This is just a fact. I want to hear the perspective from everybody, and women in particular, have had their voices stomped on for years for whatever reason that is just unacceptable. But we want to get more women involved in social media and activism, because your voices are definitely needed in the discussion. So I won't disparage my peers, my male peers in that respect, and a lot of the men in this group who are watching can relate to what I'm thinking. I'm tired of listening to these guys. Okay, it's almost like locker room chat in some cases. I'm sick of that shit. You don't just. I had a relationship with my mother beyond. I revered my mother. She brought me into the world. She took care of me. She was wonderful. I was lucky. A lot of people aren't so lucky, but we'll be lucky when we get more women in the discussion, outspoken, like the squad, like people in high position, high visibility places. Kim Iverson, she's one, out there. She's one that comes to mind. Anna Kasparian, whether you like her or dislike her, she's out there. Emma Vigeland,
Krystal Ball. And Krystal Ball is the one that's just grown leaps and bounds over the last year. I mean, and Krystal to me is one of my favorite. Her and Kim Iverson. I don't agree with both of them all the time, but most of the time they're pretty right on. So
I love Fiorella myself too, because she really is the real person.
Fiorella, yeah, she's special to Fiorella.
She wears her heart on her sleeve.
Oh my God, she is. And she's Fiorella is my soul sister. She doesn't know it, and she probably doesn't know me from Adam, whoever Adam is, but. I relate to Fiorella probably the best of all because she's out there. She's wearing her hat on the sleeve. She's emotional. Christine Lund, same. Shanda, all of you guys, you have your emotions. There's no written rule where you can't be emotional. Matter of fact, I think it's a sign of strength when you can allow that passion to come out in any way, for whether you're laughing or crying. That's the way it needs to be. So yes. We are having Women's Wednesday, and we're damn proud to kick this off tomorrow. Please join us for these ladies. They are going to be, I promise you, they're going to be terrific. This is going to be great. So, again, Thursday night, we're going to have The Accidental Activist with Shanda Masta. Always looking forward to what she's got cooking. She's just been going leaps and bounds. She's so excited about the platform and working with all these people, and it's like, God, can I have some of that energy? Wow, But I respect that because she appreciates her fellow activists, no matter who they are. And that's the kind of thing. We've got to give ourselves that energy and get out there. And, I got my pom-poms going, and I'm rah, I'm cheer. Yeah, hell yes. Hell yes. Am I going to cheer MSNBS? Are you kidding me? They're going to get this. So this is why I'm so excited about the upcoming shows. We're working on them. We haven't forgot anybody. We got Pat the Batman fan. He's going to do the Carlin show. We've got Suzanne Murphy, Truth Be Known. We've got Brave New Future with Amber King. We all have so many hats. Rhonda, give an idea of how much stuff you do in one day.
Oh, I don't know. See, Our Revolution, Uphill Media, Washington, the local Dems, I don't even know.
Well, you can't even stop because it's just boom, ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom,
We organize locally out through nationally. So there is always something going on.
Yeah, there's no reason for us to be bored, whether you're running for election or you're working on somebody's campaign, which in fact I want to say, we need to beat the hell out of Nancy Pelosi, Shahid Buttar, Mariana Everson in Washington State, Jason Call, Rebecca Parson, Christopher Armitage, Washington State. Nationally, I'm liking some of the results so far in the primary. We're getting progressives, but that big one, Shahid Buttar, please, for God's sake, send him a couple of bucks. Do whatever you can. Write an op-ed. Support him. Shahid, we have to take that. Nancy Pelosi has to go. She's part of the problem. Anyway, I think did I miss anything? Town hall this Saturday, or?
Yeah, we're actually gonna be talking with Rebecca Parson, Mariana Everson,
great,
and Joshua Collins. I believe we put a request out to him. So hopefully we'll have him on as well. So.
Okay, no, that's great. And again, we've got we're doing an interview with Chad Wilson, Green Party candidate, this afternoon. I think that's going to be a recorded one. I'm looking forward to listening to Chad. He's got a lot of passion and a lot of great ideas. Please, if you can, share and like. We're interested in growing the movement. It's not about our personal gain on these shows. It's about providing a platform for you, our audience, and everybody else to speak. And I'm not looking through you. I'm looking at you. You all mean something to us. You're part of our family, whether you know it or not. And if you don't like us, tough shit, because we love you. That's where we're at. So, from a room full of a dozen people to a room full of 10,000 people, it's going to be the same. So, good or bad. Anyway, we're going to finish this Eat the Rich Tuesday with kind of some ideas, maybe for some sauce or some main courses. The movie pick is called Eating Raoul, And if you remember, that was Paul Bartel and Mary Woronov back in the day. They were kind of like cult movie personalities. I forget who I aligned them with or lined out with. But the main character, Raoul, in this is Robert Beltran, Bakersfield High graduate. I lived in Bakersfield for a stint, quite a few years. That's where my daughter was born. But Robert Beltran was Chakotay on Star Trek Voyager, and he did a damn good job. Loved that series. So here we go. Eating Raoul.
Hollywood, California. Here, sex hunger is reflected in every aspect of daily life, and instant gratification is tirelessly pursued.
$175 a month rent increase. How are we going to pay that?
We could sell some of your wine collection.
Sell some of my wine collection?
Are you crazy?
Yeah, I'm crazy. About you, Chiquita.
Paul and I have been together for 10 years. Our marriage is based on something much more important than sex.
Hey, it's a nice place you got here.
Well, thank you.
Hi, swingers. I'm Howard Swine, your horny host that's hung with the most. I'm big as a post and warm as toast.
We like B&B, but we don't like S&M. We met at the A&P.
You used to live in the building. You must swing, right?
Wrong.
What is your scene anyway?
We invite swingers to our place and then murder them for their money.
They were sure you
Swing on this!
I hope you make this a permanent item on your menu. It's French.
No, actually, it's more Spanish.
So tender.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I've never seen that.
You haven't seen that movie?
No.
Oh my God! It was, and thus, ladies and gentlemen, this is why we check the box. This is not made for children, because you notice there was some goodies shown there. But no, I watched that movie. God, I've watched it a couple of times because it was so humorous, and I thought it fit in perfectly with Eat the Rich Tuesday. We try and have some fun and do some things that are, a little bit offbeat, out of the norm. And again, the outro song for Eat the Rich Tuesday, I had a tough time finding this, but the first one I found was by Motörhead, and the title of the song was Eat the Rich. I'm just going to play a few seconds of this, and then I'll show you what Rhonda and I so lovely decided to go on. So here we go. This is Motörhead, Eat the Rich, and it's probably copyrighted, but I'm just going to play a few seconds of it.
Because you're all lazy. They say music is the food of love. Let's see if you're hungry enough. Take a bite, take another, just like a good boy would. Get a sweet thing on the side, home cooking on the side.
Eat the Rich. But, we went, let's pull the needle off that record. So we decided on something a little more, I believe, accurate. What do you think, Rhonda? You're muted.
I agree. Sorry, the lawnmower was coming up again.
Yeah, this one doesn't have the glitz or the, that hard metal. Yeah, I mean, those guys sounded pretty good, but it kind of got lost in the minutiae of the guitar playing and the drums and the piano. We felt we needed something a little bit more direct to the point. So what we decided on was Mama Swift, and this is called Eat the Rich. Anyway, thank you, everybody. It's been a great day. I hope you enjoyed this outro song as much as we did. Mama Swift, Eat the Rich.
Thank you all. Have a great day.
Have a great day. Great lyrics here, don't you think, Rhonda?
I love them.
people they serve and a profit margin drowns voices unheard. Then it's time we started feeding. So eat the rich that devour the poor and the sick. Eat the wealthy ones in suits with a 5-finger selection of food. Cook them up, have a feast, serve them to everyone on your street. And even if you're vegan, this doesn't count. Taste the victory, spit it all out. Pouring acid into the bins, it rusts starvation and humble scavenging. Cause then that means we don't rely on your money. If the people can't survive on waste, then there's nothing left but to walk in and take what we need. But does that mean that we've won? Find what's broken, repair and use. Find what's discarded without reason to lose. The system relies on the next best thing. We cannot be satisfied with the things we have, and the TV tells us there's something new to add to endless supply of refuse. So eat the rich that devour the